I used to leave office at 6:30 p.m. like everyone should for work-life balance. But if after work anyone would ask me what would you have for dinner, I could not answer. My brain was so fried that I could not make simplest decisions or answer simplest questions. That's when I realized everyone is measuring the wrong thing. Hi, I'm Alicia, and I've navigated multiple career pivots from biotech to education to edtech consulting to tech consulting to now freelancing. I help businesses build strategies and systems that actually work. So, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing because here you will get tips, tricks, and things that actually work in the AI space and in the freelancing space. I'm hearing a lot of conversations around work life balance, and most of the work life balance advice is, I don't know why, obsessed with time. The advice is generally you work 9 to 5 and live 5 to 9. But what if you're drained by 6:30 and your mind does not work? What if at 3 p.m. you are not able to do anything because you have been in back to back meetings? I've been in jobs where I had the time. I left on time, came back on time, even had weekends off, but to be honest, had no energy to do anything that I cared about. On the contrary, I was also in jobs where I had less time but a lot more energy, and the work did not drain me that much. So I could do the things that I really liked, even in less time. So, what's the difference? I don't think it's about the hours. The shift is from thinking about time to thinking about energy and alignment. Let me explain how. The idea is about energy versus time. I was in a job where I would leave by 6:30, but when I would reach home, I had nothing left. My mind could not function. It could not think about the simplest of the things, let alone do the things that I really care about or things that gives me energy. And versus I was in a job where I would work longer hours but I had a say in my work. I had the autonomy and authority in the work that I was doing. It wasn't depleting me, it wasn't taking a lot of energy out of me. So even if I worked longer hours, I would come back and I would have the energy to make my own meals, have a little bit of fun also, and I would not just crash and burn. The question is not, am I working 8 hours? The real question is, do I have the energy to actually live my life? There are some people who talk about work life balance, and then there are some people who say that work life balance is BS. Work life integration is something that we should strive for. But I to me, work life integration sounds like work all the time and call it balance. For me, that doesn't work. For me, alignment works. By alignment, I mean that I should be able to choose the work that I do and when I do it. I think that helps you live your life and also do your work happily with a lot of energy. But here's where most of us get stuck, especially women in our corporate career. What? The validation trap. And the biggest validation trap is we all tying our self worth to the jobs that we do, the titles that we have. I was in a job where I needed my manager's approval for everything. I needed the validation that I was doing good. I needed the validation that I was valuable to the company. The work that I was doing was valuable. And the moment my job or that validation was threatened, I lost complete sense of my own self worth, which was frightening. And you know what? This is the trap. When you depend on your employer for financial security or emotional validation, you don't make decisions in your life that aligns, but you make decisions from fear and not strategy. So the question is, how do you create this alignment and stop operating from this time-based balance that everyone talks about? So part 1 is energy assessment. First, stop measuring time but start measuring your energy. Ask yourself, at the end of my workday, do I have energy to do things I care about? Am I too mentally exhausted to even think about dinner? Do I need the entire weekend just to recover? If you answered yes to these questions, you really don't have time issue, you have energy issues. For me, the turning point was when I started having anxiety, the kind of anxiety that shows up in your body. Whenever people started giving me tasks that were time boxed with tight deadlines, and this is the kind of work that would require thinking. So I would not be able to perform it. But the same task, if you give me without the time deadline, I would do it really well. My brain does not work well within time boxes. I really need the time and the space to create and build something. So this is what is called the energy alignment. Just understanding how your brain works instead of any productivity guru teaching you how it should work. So, how do you flip this switch of thinking this way? By having a life first thinking approach. So, instead of asking questions like, how do I fit my life around my work? Ask questions like, what kind of life do I want to build, and how the work that I do fits into that life. This is not about quitting your job tomorrow, but this is about getting that clarity of what you are actually building towards. The first practical step is just finding about what energy alignment means for you. Ask questions like, is it about energy, work that does not drain you? Is it about time, flexibility in when you work? Is it about environment, autonomy, less micromanagement, that kind of environment, type of work, projects that engage you? You can't change everything in one go, but I think the first step should be finding out what is that element that is misaligned and maybe fixing that one thing right now. Now, you might ask, I can't quit my job tomorrow. So, how do I really find alignment in my work or life? Now, this is where something called the bridge strategy comes in place. Step one, identify what's draining you the most. Is it the specific work, the people, the lack of autonomy, the time constraints? Step two, find the most aligned option available. Maybe it's a different role in your company. Maybe it's freelancing on the side. Maybe it's building skills for a transition. Step 3, make strategic moves, not emotional ones. When I was in a misaligned job, I would force myself to have a hard stop on that work. I would not take it beyond a certain time because I needed to preserve my energy. That hard boundary was my bridge until I could make a bigger move. See, the goal is not perfection. It's about taking that one step from being misaligned to at least being 1% aligned to what you want. I'll be honest, it took a lot of time for me to understand what was not aligned in my own life and career. And for me, autonomy and freedom were the two values that I felt were the most important ones. And if those are misaligned, I used to feel all over the place. And by autonomy and freedom, I mean the ability to choose the work that I do, when I do the work, and from where I do the work. The job where I had autonomy, I would end up taking the work and do it whenever I wanted, how I wanted, because I had the agency and a say in the kind of work that I was doing. Versus a job where I had to force myself to go to work, a complete misalignment. And there, I would not take work beyond a certain time because I would need that hard stop. And this is the reason why slowly I moved towards the area of freelancing and entrepreneurship, because I take up the work that I want to. I decide where I want to work from, how much do I charge, instead of working in a set system, because that depletes me. Whenever my freedom or autonomy is questioned or taken away, I I really can't work in those environments. Now you must be thinking, all of this is great, but I can't ask for more autonomy in my corporate job because corporate jobs come with a lot of structure sometimes, and it's difficult to find the autonomy or the freedom that at least I have been looking for. So, what do you do then? You can take small strategic decisions now that will move you slowly towards a more aligned life. So, these are the things that you can do to move towards that aligned life. Stop seeking validation from every person's opinion about your work. Set boundaries on when you are available, even small ones. Identify the type of work that energizes versus drains you. Start building skills that give you more options. Look for roles, internal or external, with more autonomy. And honestly, if your situation right now is completely misaligned and you're left feeling completely drained, then that's information. You're not failing at creating work life balance, but you're doing something that's misaligned for you and maybe not even sustainable in the long run. And if you're realizing that time management is not the issue, it's energy and alignment management, then I have created something called a pivot readiness assessment tool, and I will link that below. It's free to use. You can get a snapshot of what is happening in your life. It helps you score your reality. It really asks you question of what is happening in your work and your life, so you get an overall snapshot of your life and work in one go, and from there on you take strategic decisions to change whatever is misaligned. Second, if you are at a point where you're thinking of creating more options for yourself, learning new skills that can help you in the future, I also have created a beginner friendly course on AI that you can check out below. I'll link it in the description. If this video helped you to think about your situation differently, do consider subscribing or sending it to somebody who's sitting on crossroads thinking about life and career. And on this channel, I will post more about freelance, about AI, about career pivots, everything related to life and career that makes us wonder what are we even doing with our lives. So stay tuned. I would love to see you here again in the future.